For what felt like an eternity, the automotive world had only one song on repeat: electric, electric, electric. It was a future of silent commutes, charging stations, and a relentless march towards a gasoline-free tomorrow. Every major carmaker, from legacy giants to ambitious startups, poured billions into battery research, charging infrastructure, and the quest for the ultimate EV. The narrative was clear: combustion engines were dinosaurs, relics of a bygone era. Their days were numbered, and everyone knew it, or so they thought. And at the pinnacle of this electric empire stood one man, Elon Musk. His vision, once ridiculed, had become reality. Tesla wasn't just a car company, it was a movement. He was the undisputed king, driving innovation, pushing boundaries, and making internal combustion engines look like steam-powered relics. The message from Silicon Valley was loud and clear: if you weren't going electric, you were falling behind. The gas pump was going extinct, and the future was plugged in. No one dared challenge the prophecy. But beneath the glossy surface of EV dominance, a quiet unease simmered. While many embraced the electric dream, millions more felt left behind. Range anxiety was real, charging times were inconvenient, and the sheer cost of new EVs was prohibitive for most. The roar of a powerful engine, the tactile feedback of a manual gear shift, these weren't just nostalgic whims, they were integral to the driving experience for so many. People loved their petrol cars, but it felt like the industry was telling them their preferences no longer mattered. Meanwhile, far from the tech bro buzz of Silicon Valley, a different kind of quiet was brewing in Japan. Toyota, the undisputed titan of reliability and innovation, had been largely written off by the EV evangelists. They were too slow, too traditional, too focused on hybrids, critics claimed. But while the world was busy chasing batteries, Toyota was quietly doing what it always did best: meticulous, long-term research. They weren't just building cars, they were building a future, piece by painstaking piece, in secret. Deep within Toyota's hidden R&D facility, away from the public eye, worked Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka. A brilliant, almost obsessive engineer, Tanaka had dedicated his life to combustion. While his colleagues pivoted to electric motors, Hiroshi remained steadfast, convinced that the internal combustion engine had untapped potential. He was often seen hunched over diagrams, muttering equations, a lone wolf with an audacious hypothesis that the perfect engine was not yet built, and its revolution wasn't in electrification, but in efficiency. Tanaka's workspace was less a lab and more a sanctuary of arcane knowledge. Dusty shelves held ancient engine manuals next to cutting-edge thermodynamic simulations. He believed that the path forward wasn't to abandon the engine, but to fundamentally reinvent it. For years, his project was considered a pet hobby, an eccentric pursuit by an old-school genius. But Hiroshi knew he was onto something big. He spent countless nights, fueled by strong coffee, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible for fossil fuels. While the world celebrated EVs, Tanaka saw their fundamental weaknesses. The massive batteries, their weight, the rare earth minerals required for their production, and the agonizingly slow charging times compared to a 5-minute fuel-up. Sure, tailpipe emissions were zero, but what about the energy generation at the power plant? What about the environmental impact of mining lithium and cobalt? These were the inconvenient truths, swept under the rug in the rush to go electric. Hiroshi believed there was a more holistic solution. The idea of zero emissions for EVs, Tanaka argued, was a convenient fiction. The electricity had to come from somewhere, often from fossil fuels. And the environmental footprint of battery disposal? A ticking time bomb. Hiroshi wasn't against electrification, but he understood that a diverse energy portfolio was crucial for true sustainability. He saw an opportunity to bridge the gap, to create an engine that could offer the best of both worlds: power, convenience, and drastically reduced environmental impact, without the compromises. The increasing pressure to abandon internal combustion engines entirely fueled Hiroshi's resolve. He watched as funding for his kind of research dwindled, replaced by endless EV initiatives. It was frustrating, yet it also gave him a kind of freedom. No one was looking too closely at his niche project. He had less oversight, more room to experiment, to fail, and to ultimately innovate. He was certain the world had overlooked something profound, and he was determined to prove them wrong. His stubbornness became his greatest asset. Then, one crisp autumn evening, after months of tweaking, recalculating, and rebuilding, Tanaka saw it. A flicker of hope in his data. An experimental combustion chamber design showed unprecedented thermal efficiency. The exhaust gases were cleaner, the power output higher, and the fuel consumption shockingly low. It was just a simulation, a theoretical model, but the numbers were too good to ignore. He felt a jolt of electricity run through him, a validation of years of unwavering dedication. This was it. This was the breakthrough. What was Tanaka's secret? It wasn't a simple tweak. He had reimagined the very physics of combustion. By introducing a new pre-ignition chamber and precisely controlling the air-fuel mixture with advanced laser-ignited plasma jets, he achieved near-perfect combustion. This meant almost every molecule of fuel was burned, leaving minimal waste and vastly reducing harmful emissions. It wasn't just an engine, it was a miniaturized, controlled explosion, optimized to an unheard-of degree. The key was precision, pushing boundaries previously thought impossible. But achieving such high temperatures and pressures required materials that could withstand hellish conditions. This led Tanaka to collaborate with Toyota's Materials Science Division. Together, they developed a ceramic metallic composite, infused with graphene, capable of incredible heat resistance and durability. This wasn't off-the-shelf stuff, it was a bespoke material, engineered molecule by molecule, specifically for this engine. It was lightweight, immensely strong, and allowed the engine to operate at peak efficiency without melting into slag. Truly groundbreaking. With the theoretical hurdles cleared, it was time for the ultimate test, building a working prototype. Tanaka assembled a small, hand-picked team of engineers, each sworn to absolute secrecy. They worked around the clock, machining parts with surgical precision, assembling the intricate components under sterile conditions. Every bolt, every gasket, every sensor was custom-made, custom-fitted. This wasn't mass production, it was haute engineering, a mechanical masterpiece slowly taking shape in the heart of Toyota's secret facility. The air was thick with anticipation. 3 weeks later, the prototype sat strapped to a dynamometer in a reinforced testing chamber. The air crackled with tension. Hiroshi, eyes fixed on the gauges, gave the signal. A low whir, then a surprisingly quiet ignition. The engine hummed, then roared, but it wasn't the guttural noise of a traditional combustion engine. It was almost refined. The exhaust fumes, monitored by hypersensitive sensors, were astonishingly clean. Hiroshi saw his life's work come to life, humming with a power previously relegated to sci-fi dreams. It was glorious. The data that flooded the monitors was nothing short of revolutionary. This wasn't just an improvement, it was a quantum leap. The thermal efficiency, the horsepower-to-liter ratio, the torque curve, everything shattered existing benchmarks. It was smaller, lighter, and more powerful than anything in its class. Hiroshi felt a dizzying mix of exhaustion and triumph. The dream engine was real, and it promised to rewrite the rulebook for internal combustion. The numbers screamed for themselves, confirming what he knew deep down: he'd done it. News of Tanaka's breakthrough quickly reached the highest echelons of Toyota. Akio Toyoda, the chairman, a man with gasoline in his veins and a deep commitment to diverse mobility solutions, personally reviewed the project. His initial skepticism turned into awe, then a quiet determination. This wasn't just an engineering marvel, it was a strategic weapon. A way to reclaim the narrative, to prove that Toyota's patient, holistic approach was the right one. This engine could redefine not just Toyota, but the entire automotive industry. The project, now codenamed Genesis, was immediately elevated to top-secret status. Only a select few executives and engineers were privy to its existence. Toyota understood the explosive potential of this technology. If word got out prematurely, competitors would either try to replicate it or, worse, attempt to discredit it. They needed a perfect rollout, a calculated reveal that would maximize impact and catch the world completely off guard. The element of surprise was paramount. Silence became their most potent ally, their secret weapon. Over the next few months, subtle hints began to surface. Toyota patent filings described advanced combustion techniques, sparking minor curiosity but no major alarm. Industry insiders whispered about a next-gen power source, but everyone assumed it was just another hybrid iteration. The media was too busy praising new EV models to notice the quiet hum of innovation from Japan. This allowed Toyota to control the narrative, letting the EV hype machine continue its roar, while they prepared to drop a bombshell. A true masterclass in strategic misdirection. Then, the invitations went out. Not to a sprawling auto show, but to an intimate, ultra-exclusive event in Tokyo. Leading figures from global automotive companies, energy sector executives, and a handful of skeptical tech journalists received a cryptic golden ticket. The subject, a new era of mobility, unveiled by Toyota. Speculation ran wild. Was it a new solid-state battery? A hydrogen breakthrough? No one anticipated the true nature of the revelation. The air was thick with anticipation, tinged with a healthy dose of suspicion. The day arrived. Inside a sleek, minimalist hall, bathed in dramatic blue light, the industry's elite gathered. Whispers filled the room as they took their seats, awaiting Toyota's big announcement. The stage was bare, save for a massive, shrouded object. The atmosphere was electric, a stark contrast to the quiet revolution brewing behind the curtain. Everyone expected a pivot, a new EV strategy. What they were about to witness, however, would shatter their preconceived notions and send their carefully constructed business plans spiraling. Akio Toyoda, charismatic and composed, stepped onto the stage. He didn't immediately talk about the shrouded object. Instead, he spoke about Toyota's history of innovation, of challenging the status quo, and of the fundamental belief that consumers deserve choices. He reminded everyone that true sustainability meant considering the entire life cycle, not just tailpipe emissions. He looked directly at the camera, a twinkle in his eye, delivering a subtle jab at the prevailing EV narrative. His words were a prelude, setting the stage for the coming earthquake. With a dramatic flourish, Toyota signaled. The lights dimmed, spotlights hit the stage, and with a mechanical whir, the massive shroud lifted. Gasps erupted. It wasn't a sleek EV concept. It wasn't a battery pack. It was an engine. A beautiful, impossibly compact, almost sculptural piece of engineering. Its polished surfaces gleamed, its intricate components hinting at unimaginable complexity. The room buzzed with a mix of shock, confusion, and dawning realization. This wasn't just an engine. This was the engine. The one Hiroshi Tanaka had spent decades perfecting. On screen, a holographic projection rotated, showcasing the engine from every angle. It was a marvel of minimalist design, yet packed with advanced technology. Its compact size defied its apparent power, suggesting it could fit into a wide array of vehicles, from sports cars to heavy-duty trucks. The smooth, almost organic lines spoke of efficiency and aerodynamic principles applied internally. This was an engine designed not just for performance, but for elegance and seamless integration. It was clearly a product of immense thoughtfulness. Then came the numbers. And they were staggering. This wasn't a puny eco-engine. This was a beast, capable of delivering incredible power from a surprisingly small displacement. The power-to-weight ratio was off the charts, promising exhilarating performance. Akio Toyoda described it not as a replacement, but as an alternative, a powerful choice for those who desired uncompromising performance without compromising the planet. The room was silent, absorbing the magnitude of what they were hearing. This wasn't just talk, this was raw, undeniable power. But the real jaw-dropper was the efficiency. This engine boasted thermal efficiency figures previously only dreamed of in labs. We're talking percentages that blow traditional engines, and even some hybrids, out of the water. This translated directly into staggering fuel economy, reducing trips to the pump and slashing running costs. It wasn't just about raw power, it was about smart power, squeezing every last drop of energy from the fuel, minimizing waste, and maximizing range. An absolute game changer for the wallet and the environment. And emissions? They were almost non-existent. The advanced combustion process burned fuel so completely that harmful particulates and greenhouse gases were drastically reduced, far exceeding current and even future environmental regulations. This engine wasn't just cleaner, it was the cleanest combustion engine ever developed. It offered a viable, immediate solution to air quality concerns, without the need for a massive overhaul of global infrastructure. It proved that sustainability didn't have to mean sacrificing the internal combustion engine entirely. But here's the kicker, this engine wasn't tied to gasoline. Toyota revealed its incredible fuel flexibility. It could run efficiently on conventional petrol, but also on synthetic fuels, biofuels, and even a blend of hydrogen. This adaptability future-proofed the technology, allowing it to evolve with changing energy landscapes. No more anxiety about charging infrastructure or rare earth minerals. Just pure, unadulterated choice. This was a game changer for regions with developing infrastructure and a huge headache for EV-only advocates. The reaction from the EV industry was immediate and visceral. Executives slumped in their seats, faces a mixture of disbelief and panic. Years of investment, years of marketing, all built on the premise that ICE was dead, now suddenly challenged by a breakthrough they never saw coming. The air, once electric with EV enthusiasm, was now thick with an unsettling silence. Their carefully constructed narrative was crumbling, their future suddenly uncertain. The king had been challenged, and the challenger was a sleeping giant they'd ignored. Predictably, Elon Musk's Twitter feed exploded. His initial reaction was dismissive, calling it a last gasp of a dying tech and smoke and mirrors. But as more data emerged, his tone shifted to frustration, then thinly veiled anger. He accused Toyota of setting back progress, of clinging to the past. It was a digital meltdown, revealing the raw nerve Toyota had touched. His carefully curated image of unchallenged visionary was now undeniably ruffled. The panic was real, and it was playing out in real time for the world to see. Financial analysts and automotive experts immediately began scrambling. Their carefully constructed forecasts, projecting a swift and total EV takeover, were now obsolete. Stock prices for EV-only companies dipped, while Toyota's soared. The consensus shifted overnight, the future wasn't just electric, it was diverse. This engine opened up a whole new paradigm, forcing a fundamental recalculation of market share, R&D budgets, and long-term strategies. The automotive landscape had been irrevocably altered in a single afternoon. Everyone was reassessing everything. But amidst the industry chaos, consumers had a different reaction, pure excitement. Imagine a car with incredible power, fantastic fuel economy, and drastically reduced emissions, without the massive battery weight or charging hassles. A car that felt familiar but performed like nothing before. The promise of freedom, performance, and lower running costs was irresistible. The demand for more information, for test drives, for availability dates, exploded across social media. This wasn't just a win for Toyota, it was a win for the everyday driver. So, does this engine truly make every EV worthless? Not entirely. EVs still have their place, especially for short commutes in urban environments where charging infrastructure is robust. But this engine removes many of the primary arguments for choosing an EV: range anxiety, charging time, and even environmental impact when factoring in battery production. It offers a compelling alternative that delivers on performance, convenience, and sustainability without the compromises. Suddenly, the EV or nothing narrative seems very, very outdated. It's a game changer. And here's where Toyota truly shines. Imagine this engine integrated into their already world-leading hybrid systems. The synergy would be incredible. Even more fuel efficiency, even lower emissions, and the added boost of electric power for instant torque. This isn't just an engine for traditional cars, it's a powertrain evolution, ready to revolutionize hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and even future hydrogen electric setups. Toyota's patient, incremental approach to electrification suddenly looks like genius. It's the ultimate bridge technology. This engine isn't a one-off. It represents Toyota's long-term vision for a diverse and sustainable mobility future. They aren't putting all their eggs in one basket, but developing multiple pathways: EVs, hydrogen fuel cells, and now, ultra-efficient combustion engines. It's about meeting diverse global needs, offering tailored solutions, and embracing all forms of innovation. This isn't just about selling cars, it's about leading the industry into a more pragmatic, adaptable, and truly sustainable era. It's a masterclass in foresight. What does this mean for the road ahead? Expect a shakeup. Other manufacturers will undoubtedly try to catch up, accelerating their own combustion engine R&D. We might see a renaissance of traditional powertrains, but with a new emphasis on radical efficiency and sustainability. Consumers will have more choices than ever before, and the fierce competition will drive even greater innovation. The era of EV or bust is over. The automotive future just got a whole lot more exciting and a whole lot more diverse. Let's be clear, this isn't the death knell for electric vehicles. Far from it. EVs are still fantastic for specific use cases, and battery technology will continue to improve. But this engine fundamentally alters the landscape, proving that there isn't just one path to a cleaner, more efficient future. It shows that innovation can come from unexpected places and in unexpected forms. EVs are a crucial part of the puzzle, but they're not the only piece. This adds a critical, powerful new dimension to the mobility equation. The industry, once complacent in its EV-centric focus, is now wide awake. Toyota's audacious move has forced everyone to re-evaluate their strategies, to push harder, to innovate beyond the perceived limits. The panic has subsided into a fierce new resolve. The competition is back, and it's stronger than ever. This is good news for everyone, as true innovation thrives on challenge and diversity. The automotive world just got a much-needed jolt, proving that you can't count out the giants just yet. So, there you have it. Toyota didn't just reveal an engine, they unveiled a paradigm shift. They reminded us that innovation is boundless, that there's always a new way, a better solution, waiting to be discovered. The future of mobility isn't a monochrome electric highway, it's a vibrant, multi-lane superhighway, powered by diverse technologies, driven by choice, and fueled by groundbreaking engineering. The EV revolution just met its match, and the competition has never been hotter. What do you think this means for your next car? Let us know.